this much presumed innocence.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying he should. No, I'm not. I'm saying when he's.
Hi, everybody. We're back with episode number 7.
Seven already. Wow.
Of our humble podcast. Thanks for joining us. If you've joined us before, you know what this is all about. Foolery and a quixotic quest to fix sports.
Right.
Quixotic. Big word.
That's very impressive. That's a teacher's word.
Well, we got to start with South, right? Valley Stream South?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, they won the Long Island Championship. Last year they went to the Nassau County Championship. They won it. Lost in the Long Island Finals. This year, they took it all the way. They won the whole thing. And personally, I'm really happy for them because my son was on the team last year. And this year, it was a real team effort. I wasn't at the game, but my other son was. And I read about the game. And Dana, their best player, Dana King, was double teamed basically the whole game. He had 14 in the first half, only 4 in the second. But when I was reading Newsday, they had a great story in Newsday. They were down 53, I think 53-52, and Dana looked at one of his teammates, I think Pereira, and he had like a little tear in his eye. Like, we're going to lose this game. And about Dana's such a competitor. I really love the kid. He's a really, really competitive kid. And he said basically, like, with that look of, I need you guys to step up. So this kid Josh Robinson blocked a shot with 3 seconds left. Taj Wilson, he had a great game, scored 12 points. Paul Alicius, actually, he also played well. So they really had a good game. I'm missing Jeremiah Hernandez, who also played really well. So it was a total team effort, and for someone like Dana, who is just an absolutely fantastic basketball player, the kid is great. When they won last year, when they beat Hewlett, he actually covered their best player. His name was Avery Fishman, I think. And
Fishman, I think it was.
Yeah,
that kid was pretty good.
Kid was great. He was 6'3", and Dana took the responsibility of covering him.
Right.
So, just one more thing about Dana. I was at a game with one of my friends. We were watching him beginning of last year, and one of my friends, Dana, had the ball. He was dribbling, shooting a lot. One of my friends was like, this kid Dana King, he's always hogging the ball. And I said, you don't understand. He knows that he's the best option on this team. And when he's gotten to some type of zone of like, I want to win so badly that I'm gonna try to do it. It wasn't that he was being selfish. It was that he thought that he could carry the team. I can't say enough about him. I really can't.
I saw the kid. Our kids played JV with him. I forget what they were together after a while. But that kid is anything but a selfish player. I watched him play, and no, he's not.
Yeah.
And he plays his ass off.
Yeah.
He's really, really hard. Now he's in what year now?
So senior now, right?
This will be it. This year.
I think he's going to go to prep school next year, and then I think then he's going to see what he can get after that with college. Which, if I had to do it over again and tell you the truth, my son's up at school playing baseball. He's up with the other freshmen. He's another freshman at 20 years old. And he's by far the youngest kid on the team.
Yep. Right.
So me and you should have done that because your son is playing at Caldwell, and you just went down to Florida to see him play.
They don't call him freshman anymore. It's like Frosh.
It was great.
Yeah,
It was great.
Yeah, he had a good time.
You know what? People talk about baseball and it's dying in this country and everything else, and it ain't dying down there. Let me tell you something. Not only is everybody into it, but the talent level. This is Division II, and my son's a freshman, so I really hadn't experienced it much before.
And he's playing.
And he's playing, and really, really nice. But some of the teams down there, he plays for Caldwell. They played Wynn University, Florida Institute of Technology. I mean, these schools, Division II, and you see some talent. It's really, really unbelievable, and it's nice to see pitching.
Yeah. Well, we had those kids on the football players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean a lot now, the divisions now. It's more like different circumstances that lead you to where you play outside of how talented you are. You'll find talent everywhere now. It's not just in Division I. You'll find maybe talent. Every year you see somebody in the NFL making a big play, and it's always a small school kid. Like the kid who intercepted the ball to win the Super Bowl, the Division II kid.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Division II.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And again, like those kids we had last week. But you know what it is too. Like nowadays in high school, another thing I was going to talk about Dana again. I know and his coach Matt Johnson did a great job also. But when I would go to sport time, you would see Dana, Will Knight. They'd be there. You know those blocking pads that you use for football?
Yeah.
They would be there, and they'd be there constantly. And they would be driving to the hoop, and they had a coach there. A coach would be hitting with these blocking pads. And every time I go to sport time, they would be working on that game. Diego Maldonado, the kid must have taken 50,000 1,000 shots just to get better in high school. And so those kids are going to Division II schools, maybe Division III schools, but they're dedicated, they're awesome, and that's what sports is all about. So I'm really happy for them. I really am.
And you have to throw in the mix that some of these kids are unbelievably talented. Size, can have, not so much in baseball, but in basketball,
getting money.
Nice. In basketball and football, it's still a matter. Like this kid Dana, I watched him play, and I think he's a really, really talented kid.
Yeah.
So 5'9"?
Yeah, I think about 5'9".
Now, if he's 6'4",
oh, forget about it. Yeah.
Forget about it is right.
Right.
Now, and he's a tremendously talented kid, but he's not going to play at North Carolina because he's 5'9".
Yeah, he's 5'9".
You know what I mean? So, and of course, football is needless to say.
Yeah, you need
some of these guys, the size does matter if you're going to,
No, we should put our kids in bowling, tennis,
lacrosse.
Anyway, we got another email. This one's really good. I like to start the show off with an email, so we got a nice one, I thought, anyway. We're starting to get some kids watches, which is good in a way, troubling in another way, because we do have some foul language on here. So
And alcohol abuse.
This is not
and alcohol, right?
This is not role model central.
No, it's really not. So when you get an email from a 7-year-old, you're like, oh my God, who's parenting them?
7
years old. So anyway, but it's a nice email. It's from 7-year-old little Annie Packanathi from Peekskill, New York, and she writes, I really want to thank you for helping my family. Last year, my grandmama got hit by a U-Haul and got hurt real bad. She even lost an arm. She was at the hospital with so many tubes and plugs, and she couldn't wake up. My daddy wanted to take the tubes away. He says this will help Grandmama rest. My grandpa, Pop-Pop, sat with her every day, brushing her hair and singing and talking to her. He was very sad. Sometimes Daddy and Pop-Pop would argue about the tubes, and that made me sad too. But something changed last week. My Pop-Pop saw your podcast and said to Daddy, screw it, there is no hope for humanity anyway. And it's cute, she spelled humanity with no, just with a U. There is no hope for humanity anyway. So thanks to your podcast, Daddy took the tubes away, and now Grandmama can rest. I made a picture of Grandmama for the 3 of you. Thank you so much. We will never forget you. Love, little Annie Packman. She sent us a picture of her grandma. Show it to you guys first.
Nice.
Nice. Post-mortem. So we helped out a family, and I think we did some good with our podcast. And
they pulled the plug.
They pulled the plug.
They gave up on humanity.
I shouldn't have.
No, I know. Listen. It's called a silver lining for something, guy. Every black cloud has a silver lining, and obviously we've done some good. So there you go. So thank you to little Annie Packanathi for writing in, and we encourage all the kids to write in, and we encourage the kids to watch, because we really don't care if you hear curse words, because you got the internet, and I'm sure you hear them anyway. All right?
And mom and dad.
If you had the internet when you were 13 years old, what have you been doing?
Pretty much what I was doing, just using a different medium to do it.
You wouldn't be having to look under your dad's mattress.
Exactly.
There you go. So something earth-shattering happened in the world of sports, you would say, in football. And Renee, it's the first thing, like, what do you want to talk about? And Renee came up with this. I said, yeah, it's a big one to talk about. So,
Chris Borland, 24-year-old, just finished his rookie year for the 49ers, retires. Walks away from about $5 million, at least $2 million guaranteed next year, and he says because he's scared about brain injuries, and he's only had 2 reported confirmed concussions his whole life, and one was playing soccer. This is a kid that's was all SEC, was a top 4 round pick in the NFL. He would have started this year and just walks away.
I was in Florida. I just got back, and I saw that, briefly. I was pretty busy seeing Kevin play. What was the feedback on that? What was everybody saying about it?
Not too much. You listen to Francesa, and Francesa, I'm a fan of Sports Talk Radio. there's an underlying feeling of they cover it, and they cover it well, saying, like, yes, it's a very dangerous sport, but there's not a complete, I don't know, undertaking investigation. I mean, there was that book written about the NFL and the concussions and how really the NFL is kind of trying to cover up a lot of, the injuries that these guys have. But there's not, similar to steroids, there's not a huge backlash. Because I think when you're talking about billions and billions of dollars, it's rather something
make a lot go away.
Yeah, how do we get this underneath the rug? And then their response is, well, we're doing more than ever to stem the tide of concussions, which I always think is a great argument. It was a similar argument that they had for Syracuse when Syracuse said, oh, this investigation took 8 years. That's apples and oranges. Who cares how long the investigation took? Who cares we're doing all these things? Well, they're not working. What drug test? Well, it's not working. Right. So you can't say that that's what you're doing when it's not working. So it's kind of been a little bit like, hey, it's his decision. We respect his decision, but,
first of all, literally heard this for about a minute, but I do understand, first of all, that the kid's family is pretty well off.
Oh, okay.
That's what I understood. That makes a world of difference. It's easy to walk away from $2 million when you got 10.
I didn't know.
So I don't know what kind of money, but I understood they're well off.
And the kid's a good student. He went to college. He graduated from college with his degree. It's not like he left early for the NFL, and this was he played 4 years, graduated with a degree.
There's an option.
Yeah. So he's an intelligent kid. You can hear from all the interviews. He speaks really well.
Right.
He knows what he's talking about, and he didn't make the decision by himself. He went to a lot of neurologists, different doctors, talked about it before he made the decision.
Well, he didn't want to end up like Annie's grandmother.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or Junior Seau.
Yeah.
Or Von Bleacher.
But you know what? This is probably something we should discuss, and we haven't. I don't know how you guys feel about the new rules of football, but a lot of them seem to me, we're heading toward flag football. You can't hit anybody. Basically they're saying, unnecessary roughness, so they might as well say you hit him too hard. Because that's basically what they're calling unnecessary roughness.
That's the NFL trying to keep themselves away from lawsuits.
Yeah, I got you. I understand that. But I think the people that play the game have basically told you that they don't like it like this.
They don't like the fact that they can't hit anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that you're making a conscious decision to play this game, understanding the risks of it, and they are substantial. And they have decided, I'm going to play this game. There's other people that do very dangerous things.
Wait, we disagree again.
You know what? Every year, people die making buildings.
Yeah.
They fall off.
Right.
Maybe we shouldn't do any more construction. People.
Thank you.
People, I knew a guy years ago that did the high wire electrical stuff, hanging off helicopters. Mm-hmm. People die. Maybe we shouldn't do that.
When kids start to play football, though, at such an early age, and there is a type of what's that word?
Indoctrination.
I
was on
Thank you. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Quick sciatic. There you go.
Couple of brain cells still going there.
And they're kind of almost brainwashed. Like I said, I went to that Penn State game, and I've been to Penn State a couple of times. And motherfucker, that is a cult over there. It is a cult. Mm-hmm. And there's a type of almost like, brainwashing that goes on with football, and like it's almost a religion. And then you tell kids, you got to be tough, you got to be strong, and kids don't want to act like in front of their parents. So, how often is it, they've just been brought up that way, and when you say they have a choice. Do a lot of them really have a choice? I don't know. Some of them do.
I don't think so.
That's parenting,
But then you have a lot of parents now. You have a lot of professional athletes now saying they wouldn't let LeBron James said, I won't let my kids play football.
Yeah.
And he played football his whole life growing up. And
but decisions have to be made by parents, by the people that play the game. I don't know that you can try to protect. We almost have a governing body now trying to
kid play quarterback, and that's it. But you can't touch him anymore.
Yeah, you can't touch the quarterback for sure.
That's all he could play.
I have no problem with it moving towards flag football as long as I can bet on it. The only reason why I watch football is to bet on it. And, some guy laying out another guy with a huge hit, it does nothing for me. Unless he's, laying him out with a huge hit and it helps me win my bet. But, if they want to do, have more equipment, have better equipment, reinforce it if it slows the game down a little bit. For guys like me, it's not like baseball. I love baseball, and I don't want to see anything, but I don't see most things change about it. With football, I'm like, what's the line? what's the over and under? And here's my $50 to the middle, you know. So
I got you. I just think though that if you're if an adult, let's stay away from the kids because that's really a whole different. Obviously that's a different argument. But these guys are adults and they're saying, hey, I want to play this game. This is what I signed up for. I make a lot of money. I'm a celebrity. I'm this, and I know the risks of it.
Yeah.
To me,
it's a fine line. I think they should leave the game the way it is. Of course, advanced safety equipment, and then it's still your decision. But at the end of the day, I think the players' union need to they need to negotiate better because they put themselves in a situation. They put themselves in a situation where they're making the most money out of any professional league in America, and they have the shittiest contracts out of everybody.
I guarantee.
Exactly.
Right.
You blow your knee out in baseball, you still have 7 years in your deal that you're getting paid for.
Now, there's got to be a way that you got to protect the club, though. The club has got to have a way to protect itself from injuries, career-ending injuries.
I mean, maybe half your salary because it's completely done. It's not like you get a severance package.
Particularly in that sport.
Yeah, you get your
career-ending.
You get your year salary, and that's it afterwards. I think there should be something. Like I said, how long were the Mets paying Bobby Neal? You could pay one of these guys that got hurt.
The Mets are still paying Bobby Neal.
You could break down their salary to a yearly thing for X amount of years and then pay them off gradually and still not lose a profit on it.
Yeah.
The NFL is not striking for money by any means. It's the most profitable organization in all professional sports.
Right.
So.
Well, they just had this the deal. I should know the numbers better. I didn't know what we were going to talk about tonight, but I think they settled for $700 million with the old players, the ones who joined the class action suit. There's something around that. And from everything I read, that they were laughing at the NFL offices in Manhattan, $700 million. We just got away with murder. Because that easily could have been in the billions of dollars.
I think their DirecTV deal is I'm going to say minimum of $50 billion for their DirecTV deal for the NFL package. So, chump change.
Yeah. And then, and it goes back to the thing about, when we talk about college football, too. How much money is being generated there. And, just to switch the gear a little bit, Syracuse came up, obviously, last week. I get Sports Illustrated every week, and they had a thing on North Carolina. And it was written by this guy, S.L. Price, who went to North Carolina. And when he was in North Carolina, he was a smart guy, inquisitive guy. And you could see he thought that something was fishy about college athletes, something was going on. So he kind of, had an independent streak in him. So when they were building the Dean Dome, he wrote about why do we need this Dean Dome? This is going to be the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? You're monetizing, and now it's become something other than what we wanted it to be.
Right.
And needless to say, he was very prescient because look what's happened. I mean, have you guys read about this about North Carolina? Yeah. Let me just fill you in. It's all right. So we know, all right, shit happens, but this is absolutely fucking unbelievable what went on there, affecting 3,100 athletes. They had literally a school set up, an offshoot for African American Studies. It was called AFAM. I forget what the acronym stands for, but it was basically classes that they call paper classes, where you write a paper and you get a grade. And that's it. And all you got to do is write that paper. Some didn't even write the paper. And 3,100 students, going back to Dean Smith, were in this program just to keep them academically eligible so they could play football and basketball. And you had Dean Smith, and then you had the coach there, Roy Williams. And these coaches like Boeheim, who again, despicable to me, he came on. He said, "Oh, it was too harsh," and we disagreed last week. We're not following the rules.
And we're gonna disagree.
Yeah, but
because
honestly, you're gonna put these students in. 3,100 students are not getting an education that you promised them so that they can play football. And the coach is insulated. It's like the mafia. It's like
I know, but I don't think they belong in college. It's impossible.
Okay, so can't the college do this? What do you think, Renee? A great school like North Carolina can say, look, for our football program, we are going to we're going to have a school. It's not going to be African American Studies. It's going to be a trade. It's going to be something that can be useful when they graduate and don't go to the NFL. whatever that trade is. And the first thing, of course, that comes to my head is plumbing, and you laugh. But like, why not? They
That
make
makes sense.
great money. So why can't a school like North Carolina have North Carolina trade? But they can play for North Carolina. You're doing a service to the community.
Because it all goes back to the NCAA, which is a racket. The NCAA is a racket.
Yeah, we know that.
They set the standards for everything. So North Carolina did it. Basically, everyone has to do it, or everyone has to have that type of program, or like that offers something different. That because the NCAA needs their hand.
Yeah, it's systemic, but can't they just say, all right, well, each school, you're allowed to have literally a building on campus that is for students who maybe wouldn't be able to normally get a degree at North Carolina because high school failed them, or they failed themselves in high school.
Right,
but you can still come to this school and you can study carpentry, you can study automotive, you can study air traffic control. Why is that a problem? I don't understand that.
I think the answer is that college was still that was like a high school thing. It was supposed to be done in high school. You're supposed to be able to go to wood shop or to automotive or to and they still have it here. I understand, like in Central, for different whatever crafts or whatever, but not crafts. And I think that people and me included think that college is still higher education, and you're supposed to be able to do the college work, and now it's like you're almost making a remedial thing. Well, we're going to have it, okay, it's college, but we're going to have it for people that really can't do college work.
If you have a system that's not, but if you have a system that's not working, and it's not been working for years,
definitely needs to change. It definitely needs all right, you get accepted, but your freshman year you can't play. You have to go. It almost should be to the point where if you sign on to college and you don't have above 1,600 on your SATs, you should have to redshirt that year. But now, because the standards to get into college and play are already lower for a football or basketball player than an average student.
Right.
So they already have lower standards and they're barely meeting those. So they need extra time.
Yeah, well, back to Dana and Will. I mean, what a lot of times what's producing these unbelievably great athletes. Hey, John. What's producing these unbelievably great athletes is the fact that, yes, high school and classwork is not a priority. And they are at sports. I'm not saying this about Dana and Will. I'm just using an example.
But you just said they're there all the time.
They're there all the time.
I'll tell you what they're not doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not talking about those two.
We're not talking about those two. We're talking about in general.
Right. In order to be good enough to play at a Division I school, I saw what these kids do. It was amazing, and they're there all the time. Will was waking up before. He's waking up before school, and he's getting there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So again, their priority, not their priority, but a Division I hopeful prospect athlete is going to put so much time to devote in high school to get that Division I scholarship. So now he's devoted all that time to his craft, and he really didn't have time to study. So it doesn't mean he's not a smart kid. So why can't we find a school and a place for them that maybe fits their needs a little bit better?
It definitely needs to change. The same thing as same thing as steroids and baseball. It needs to change, but
that's the in-depth analysis. It needs to change.
It needs to change, and it needs a drastic overhaul.
Maybe we've gone because I was a little bit surprised, maybe a little bit naive, but my son's team, Caldwell, was playing down in Florida.
Forever with the Caldwell.
This is.
Number one Caldwell fan right here, guys.
I'm getting Caldwell in there.
Get him a season ticket.
What's the name of that team? The Caldwell what?
Cougars.
Oh, that's cute.
They are the Cougars. You like that? Yeah. So anyway, but anyway, they're down there on spring break. So I got it. They're not missing any school. They had midterms last week. Now they're on spring break. So then I look at the schedule and I see they come back tonight, and now they play a doubleheader Saturday and a doubleheader Sunday. No problem. Then I see they play a doubleheader Tuesday.
Yeah.
Starting at noon.
Missed class. You got exempt.
Yeah.
Exactly. What happens to your classes on that day? I know you tell the teachers beforehand that you're going to miss these classes and you have to make up the work and blah 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 blah. And I thought to myself, we really have to schedule games during. I mean, I'm sure it's a very very good school.
It's an academic
standards are very high. The kids have to do their work. But maybe we are, to a degree, taking this again, this is Division II school,
Right.
and I have a lot of respect for it because it's really run well, and it's a good school. I don't want to put it down. But why do we have to have games during...
I agree with you. 12 o'clock. I mean, I guess there's a daylight issue at this point.
I mean,
because, you know,
but you look at the big.
It's a doubleheader.
How many times do you think kids that play baseball in the Big East go to class right now? The Big East, the way it's set up right now, where you have a team that's 400 miles away in your conference.
Right.
Not a scheduled game, but in your conference.
Right.
You have a team that's 400 miles away. Like,
you can't do what?
Yeah.
But see, because I know you like this, because I know you can't stand ESPN.
Can't stand ESPN.
But ESPN will talk about, you know, they did this, and this is a scandal, and this is that. But meanwhile, it's all about flying all over the place, getting games on ESPN so they generate revenue, and nobody ever says, wait a minute. How about classes? How about none of them? See, we're watching ESPN. Nobody ever says, you know, where are these kids? Why aren't they in class? Nobody said they don't give a shit.
They're the dragon in the world, getting fed all this stuff. Man.
Right.
They're a horrible entity. They're horrible. It's horrible. Their exploitation of athletes, their exploitation of sports. There's nothing good about ESPN. It's a necessary evil for us because they monopolize sports. So they got 9 different channels. So if you want to really watch any of these games, you got to watch ESPN. But it's absolute. Prettying up the set there, okay?
our producer Kadeem Huggins.
It's unbelievable what they've done to sports. Again, highlighting the worst of it, highlighting guys beating their chest, highlighting fights. Hey, listen, man, I'm not the biggest hockey fan in the world, but I've been watching the ESPN Sports Center the last couple of weeks. Every time they do a hockey thing, every time they show a fight. Every single time they'll show a fight. Do you need to do that? Yeah, because it's different. They're announcers. Every guy, the studio that they have, this slick little, kind of mall-looking thing, looks like a hospital room. Everything they do is reeks of used car salesmen. Everything. And I hate ESPN.
But I think in general it's become this has just taken over to the point where the academics is taking a backseat. There's no question. Look, I mean, you and I love baseball. You love baseball. We love baseball.
Right.
My son's playing. It's great. It's a great school. Everything else. You know what? On that Tuesday, play a single game.
Yeah, you play a single game.
Play a single game at the school.
Oh,
and so and again, it's a good school, and I don't have anything bad to say about the school. But and this is a little Division II school. Mm-hmm. Imagine these guys. I mean, I don't think they're ever on campus. These guys.
But playing that single game, that probably adds another day of travel. So they're trying to take away dollars and travel away from, especially Division II kids, because the Division I game, they're gonna play one game and then they'll play one game tomorrow and they'll play one game after that. They'll play one game after that because they don't care about you going to class.
Well, do you know that this shocked me? But my son's team started playing on March 12th. Between March 12th and March 28th, that's 17 days inclusive. 17 days. How many games did they play?
12?
15.
17.
17 games.
17 and 17 days.
Oh my God.
Some days off, but then some double headers make up for the days off.
Yeah.
17 games, 17 days.
Seems like a lot.
And from March 12th to April 30th,
Right.
38 games.
Well, you're preaching to the choir, because I've said for the longest time, they talk about the baseball season, and I know they wanted to add a tier of playoffs, which they did, which I don't like, but anyway. Why don't you just make it 154 games? I mean, there's historical precedence for it. I mean, it used to be a 154-game season. Chop a week off the season. If you want to make the postseason better, then, baseball to me is a game that can't really determine in a best-of-5 series what team is going to be better. And best of seven, I think you need the 7. So anyway, that's a little thing on baseball. But I want to get back to baseball too, just to change the subject a little bit, because we're running on a little bit about the thing. But Pete Rose is going for the reinstatement. And
I think he deserves it.
This is good. This conversation will be good for me. I'll let you guys go, but I could always bring this back to my favorite subject, which is steroids. I can easily bring it back. Who cheated the game more? The guys on steroids. But first off, do you think that he should be allowed back?
I've always thought the same thing. To me, it seems fairly obvious, but there's debates on it all over the place. when it comes, and you said we've mentioned gambling on this show a lot because we will do it, and we know what it's fun.
Hypothetically.
It's you're right. Have a lollipop bet again.
Cheers to gambling.
But the integrity of the game can't be questioned. It's paramount. You cannot question what's going on, that somebody is not trying their best, or it will ruin sports.
I mean, I think they're taking the game's already questioned, though, by taking steroids.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but this is I understand. Look, I'm not a proponent of steroids, but I'm just saying you have.
You will be later on. I probably will be too. When we hit 60, man, we gotta do something.
We're different. We're talking about everybody else. This is not us. No. So what I'm saying is, if you, where was it? I lost myself.
With Pete Rose, if you cheat the integrity of the game.
The integrity of the game, you can't get. And you know what? Starting in college, I had some friends of mine that played Division I basketball.
Yeah.
They're telling you that from the goddamn minute you show up.
Yes, I've heard that.
This is a big deal.
Right.
People bet on these games. Everything else, you're not involved in gambling. You don't know the lines. Don't know who's betting. Don't be involved in it.
Right.
It's shoved down their throat.
Right. But every 5 years or so, something pops up, and if you got a line, if you got a line, think about it. And again, this is something I didn't think about it before we came on. If you have a line on a Hofstra game, or just a mid-major game, you see these lines, and you're like, this kid from Long Island. All you got to do is say, look, we'll give you, $5. I would I think we'd be naive to think that it doesn't happen more than we know. That guys are like under the table giving money.
At least 10 to 1.
Yeah.
For everyone they catch, it happened 10 times.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
it
got to
pops
be.
Up every now and then.
And it's going to.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Because there's money involved.
Right. You're going to George Mason. I can't think of. I'm trying to think of even a lesser, school, a Mac school. Mac school on it.
William and Mary just played in the Colonial championship.
And someone said to a kid, look,
LIU Brooklyn.
Yeah, right. I'll give you 10 grand if you kind of lay a little low tonight.
Right.
It's 10 grand. And they're not getting paid.
Let's say that happens. We know it happens because everyone's
disaster. They're not getting paid, and then you give them that money.
Absolutely.
So how do we get in on this? That's what we got to start fixing.
Just have to go hang out over by the school, over by the. No.
What do you mean? No, we got to start fixing games next year. We'll start fixing
I probably could find a guy.
You got a guy? Anyway, going back to what you were saying, it seems fairly obvious to me, and I think, like you always say, baseball is a fan's game. It's a people's game, and in general, the fans want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Now, I do not see why there's a problem with putting him in the Hall of Fame and not allowing him back on the field.
Yeah.
You cannot manage anymore. That's been there and gone.
Right.
You can't do it. The integrity game was brought into question. We're not going to let you near.
I think
the
it'll be
field.
really big.
Manage
it'll be really big this year because they also have games in Cincinnati this year, right?
Is that right?
Sure it is. So I'm pretty sure it's in Cincinnati. So it's going to keep coming up, especially closer to the summer we get.
Just don't let him back in the game.
Yeah, I think they should put him in Hall of Fame.
I think you just put him in Hall of Fame as a player. That's it.
Well, how is it that known cheats, and again, known cheats who have destroyed the record book, who have destroyed our faith in the game, who have destroyed my ability to watch a game and say, wow, I wonder.
No, you do say right. You do say
So it's corrupted the game.
Right.
Whether you're talking about McGuire, Manny Ramirez, all these guys are still they're still working in baseball. At the very least, can Mark McGuire not be a hitting coach? Can you at least say, Mark?
He's a god.
Go on the farm and go do something else because he cheated the game that way. Manny Ramirez is a consultant for the Cubs. Right. What's he consulting?
But the only thing,
what's time to rub the cream on? Is that
I think the whole thing about them, the difference between them and Pete Rose is Pete Rose never owned up and just apologized. All of them copped the plea and was like, yeah, I did it. It was a terrible mistake, worst thing in my life. Pete Rose just like, yeah, I gambled. I don't care. I didn't gamble against my team. Yeah. He never did what baseball wanted to do, which was, beg for their forgiveness like the rest of them did. They want you to gravel, and Pete Rose was above graveling. So I respect him for even more, not for begging for mercy, because he's just like, hey, I didn't bet against my team.
Yeah. I just think that what he did is the same It's no less, it's no more. But if you gamble on baseball, you are taking the integrity of the game into it. And so now, when you're deep in debt, But there were questions about. I don't know if I read a book. I forget the name of it. Hoop game, NBA Hoop something Hoop. If you want to look up the book, it was like
When the wrestling
15
team?
years ago. And it was about. They talked about Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, and they said one of the reasons why Michael Jordan is very suspicious that he was into some serious shit, and that's why he skipped over to baseball, because he was deep into debt. And the book, so I don't, when I'm being libelous here, slanderous, I don't know if we can, slanderous, it's not libelous, that Isaiah Thomas through basketball games, NBA basketball games. That's what the book implies.
Really?
And knowing Isaiah Thomas's character from what you've seen and read about him since, it's absolutely 100%
think it makes
believable.
sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And they cited, I should never come on here and not know what I'm talking about as far as that goes, but it's called Hoop something, and I forget what it's called, but anyway, I'm going to look it up, I'll have a feeling soon. But yeah, they implied that they did that. So, it goes on, we understand that, but, I don't know if it's as bad as when guys do steroids and literally cheat other people out of their dreams,
I understand what you're saying, but I think at the same time, when you get into the whole integrity of the game, then there's nothing left of it.
Right.
People believe that people aren't even trying to you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, you can't do any worse than that.
Right.
And, unfortunately, and everybody likes Pete Rose. Charlie Hustle. He had, behind Pete Rose should be an American flag.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you have this, and it's a shame.
Right. Well, we live in a time where, myths have been broken. Everyone used to look up to these guys. Everyone used to idolize them, treat them like gods, and, put them on a pedestal. And it's not like that anymore. I mean, the romance is gone. You know what I mean? It's,
there's no question.
There's no question about it. So, they're not heroes. They're not gods. As much as they try to market them that way, and to me, LeBron James is the closest one that he's been marketed in such a way that is incredible. His image is stellar, and who's ever handled him is doing a great job. Because family man, he's got kids, he's got the whole thing. Everything seems
Considering the fact that he left Cleveland
right,
to go to Miami,
right.
and he still has the reputation, you know what I mean? That would be like, he left me shit. No,
He did go
he's
back,
just
though.
trying to, he did go back.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, he's
Right.
being marketed very, very
and
well.
now, the other thing, how much time we got left?
2 minutes.
With the marketing aspect of, and with this, again, why ESPN is the devil. Stop. They've been doing it for at least 2 months. Stop about who is the NBA MVP. Stop. Every fucking day on SportsCenter. Who do you think is the MVP? And they'll get a round table discussion. Is it Curry? Is it Harden? Is it who gives a shit he is in January? Stop talking about it. I know it's your marketing issue. I know you're trying to build stars. I don't give a shit. LeBron James is the MVP. Close the fucking book. He was the MVP last year. They gave it to Durant. I don't want to hear that Steph Curry is the MVP. He's not. It's not even close. Don't tell me when you got a league that has LeBron James in it that Stephon Curry is the MVP. Stop shoving him down my throat. I'm not a fucking moron.
Right. No, I don't disagree with that. I think it needs to. And by the way, watch ESPN for one day. I remember back in the day, it was hard to get information on sports, and you had to, wait, and it was difficult to read the paper. Now it's like 24 hours of bullshit. It never ends. It never ends.
They do what we do. They do what we do, and we're fucking goofing around.
Right. Content never ends. Would you shut up already?
Right. I don't expect anyone to look at what we're doing and go, yeah, all right, yeah. But they take themselves so seriously, like they're the voice of sports. They are not the voice of sports. You know who's the voice of sports? Matt Johnson, the South. This is sports. This is what sports is. That's what sports. This is the school. This is South coming together. Everyone going to the games. This is morale in the school.
Right.
This is these guys working their ass off to achieve something and achieving it. That is what sports is. Sports is not this fucking absolute fucking nonsense that ESPN shovels down your throat every fucking day. They're exploiting the athletes. They're exploiting us, and they're treating us like morons.
Right. And
Favorite toss.
wow. That's the first time anybody ever threw anything. Can I throw the play?
No.
No.
You do own the play.
It's like $4.
Pay $4 and then your son got to clean it up.
That's right. That wouldn't be good.
Actually, no, you might not throw. You could throw the glass now. So you're responsible for paying that to clean it up.
All right, so we're done. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, listen.
Final thoughts?
My final thought. Read Phil Mushnick every day. He's a New York Post. I think he Sunday, Monday, Friday. I think that's what he is. You should always read him. He's got a good angle on sports. He's got a good angle in what we're trying to do here. Same thing about how sports is really going down the hill. I know he feels like he's pissing into the wind. We probably feel like we're doing it too. He would probably hate this show because we curse too much and we're a little bit, joking around a little bit too much. But I don't care. He's awesome, and so read so much.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
We didn't mention it once, so it is the first day of the NCAA tournament. But we did throw gambling in.
SMU got robbed. That was not a goaltend. There's no way that was a fucking goaltend. I will guarantee you. And it's not a reviewable play. You can review everything now, and you can't review a fucking goaltend. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
All I know is...
Speaking of gambling, that sounds like someone...
Well, here's another gambling thing. I watched a lot of college basketball game like I do every year, and I was filling out my bracket, and I really felt confident. Iowa State in the Final Four. So don't gamble, because they're out in the first goddamn round, and you can't pick these things worth a goddamn day anyway.
Don't gamble, smoke and drink.
Smoke and drink, you'll save a lot of money. It's much cheaper.
Right, there
much
you go.
cheaper.
All right, see you next week.
See you next week.